Welcome to the Drysen Learns Things podcast. I'm Drysen, and you'll notice that once again, I'm by myself. That's because it's really important to me that I provide you with daily content. That is my goal. However, I would much rather talk to you, interview you, hear your stories, listen to you, what you're proud of in the marketing world versus me just sharing one-off random stuff. So if you would like to be featured on the podcast, reach out to me at Drysen at madebythings.com. That's Drysen at madebythings.com. And I would love to talk to you. Kind of funny. I'm recording back-to-back episodes because I'm at Camp Mograph this week, and I just realized after like the 10th one that my suitcase is literally in the background of all these videos. So if you're watching on YouTube, laugh at me if you will. There's my suitcase. Today, I thought it'd be a really great idea to walk through what it's like to work with an animation studio like Made by Things, in case you're curious. So typically, the process, we recommend that all of our clients, all the new clients to us, go through what we call the Discovery Workshop. Now, the Discovery Workshop is basically our way to partner with your internal marketing department. We make sure everyone's on the same page. We identify goals. We take a look at what your competitors are doing, what you're doing, and ultimately, we're trying to find the missing pieces, the weak spots of your customer journey, so we can suggest content to fix those sales funnel gaps. That way people stop falling out of the process and they move along until they make an action with your company, hopefully becoming a customer. That is what the Discovery Workshop is. It's finding and identifying those essential pieces of content that you're missing. We recommend everyone goes through that because it makes us become very intimately familiar with your brand. And while we can't just be a production resource, if you're like, hey, we've got an idea, we want you to make the thing, we can totally make the thing. We're good at making the thing. But if we can really be a partner and understand your brand and be like intimately familiar with it, it's a lot easier to make content that sells it. So we recommend everyone goes through it. But once you go through the Discovery Workshop, what happens next? You pick the project, we're going to go forward. The first idea is to come up with the story. What are we trying to do and how do we inspire curiosity? Now, there's a few things I want to talk about real quick, and that's, for example, we like the mentality of show, don't tell. We really like telling stories that you don't need to have a voiceover saying, this is Bob, Bob does this. We'd much rather you watch something and feel emotionally connected to it, even if it means not having a voiceover at all. That means we found a good story. The other thing is we want to make sure that whatever the story we're following is that your company, your brand is not the hero. It sounds a little backwards, but we want you to be the mentor, the guide, and help the hero, i.e. your customer, accomplish their goals, their missions. I've said this in the webinar, I've said this 100 times, but if this is Star Wars, we don't want you to be Luke Skywalker. No, we want you to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. We want you to be Yoda, giving the hero, your customer, the tools, the skills, the knowledge, the expertise that they need to accomplish their mission. So show, don't tell, and don't be the hero. Once we have the story in mind, we take it and we create what's called a visual treatment or a script. It's basically the words that are going to be said paired with the actions that are going to be happening. With that approved and locked down, we moved into what is called the mood board phase. Now, mood boards are basically Pinterest pages, if you will, a collection, a collage of ideas and looks and styles and treatments so we can see exactly what it is we want to create and how this thing could potentially look. With our mood board put together, we can start stealing inspiration, stealing ideas from that mood board. Then we dive into storyboards. And a storyboard is a collection of images, just pencil sketches, drawing out what every single scene is going to be, paired to the words, how it's going to move, what's going to happen, and we can start just making a visual representation of the story we're trying to tell. After storyboards come style frames. That's taking one of those frames as if it was a finished frame of your final video. What does it look like? What are the colors? How are the shapes? What does it look like? And it's all locked down as a final. And then we share that with you. We say, hey, this is what it looks like. This is what the goal is. What do you think? And again, this entire process is highly collaborative the entire way through. But after we get approval on the storyboard and the style frames and everything else, that this is the way we want to go, we dive into production. This is a lot of fun because there's multiple ways you can do just about any video. And this is all, again, figured out in pre-production, the storyboard and style frame ways. But is it going to be a live action video where we're taking the best cameras and people and everything else? Is it going to be 2D animation where we're doing flat vector images or abstract things? Is it 3D where we're modeling characters or modeling things and lighting and texturing and rendering? But once we figure that out, we basically have to make whatever it is we have to make. If that's making footage, we go record it. If it's making 3D stuff, we model it, we shape it. If it's making 2D things, we draw it and illustrate it. We make it all happen. Once those assets are created, then we can move into the animation phase where we have to lay keyframes and make things move and give it character and personality. And there is so much science that goes into a brand and movements here, because if your brand is like fun and inspirational or like fun and peppy, you want it to be cartoony and playful and bouncy and moving around in joyful ways. But if it's a little more casual and laid back or even grungy, you want it to be a little rough around the edges. You want it to be a little just, unpolished to get that feeling through to it. I think the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is a prime example of it's not perfectly smooth. It has little shudders and shakes, and that style gives it personality, and that personality can match your brand. Now contrast that with something that's very professional, very polished. It's going to be intentional with its movements. It's going to be smooth. And so thinking about these things, about how it moves, again, there's just a lot of science, and how something moves represents the personality of your brand. But once that's all done, once it's animated, then we go through and do sound design. Now, there's something to be said that good audio can save terrible video. Absolutely. But bad audio can wreck a perfect video. Super easy. So we want to make sure that we're giving you the best visuals and the best audio to give it to the experience, though, when your customers are watching this, whether the goal is to inspire curiosity or build trust or give them the information they need to feel comfortable taking an action, that they actually want to watch this thing. They're actually engaged and they're actually viewing it, and it's actually accomplishing whatever goals you have. Otherwise, there's no ROI. There's no point. You shouldn't be doing it in the first place. So we want to make sure, from an audio standpoint, from a visual standpoint, from a storytelling standpoint, that it's doing all these things really, really well. And then we have a couple of rounds of revisions. But again, this entire process is super collaborative because we want to make sure that whatever we're going to create feels like you. Now, can we just be like, yo, make me the thing, we'll see you in the backside? Yes, we can be a production resource like that for you. We don't love it because anytime we can be really, really involved and really partnered to be collaborative, we can do a lot more cool things because we get to know your brand more intimately. But if you just need us to be a production resource, yes, we can do that too. With that said, I'm Drysen. Today's episode is sponsored by the Made by Things Discovery Workshop. I talked about it earlier, so I don't need to recap it right now, but just know that if you are a marketing person, if you have a campaign or an initiative or a project that you've worked on that you're really proud about and you want an opportunity to brag about your company and the work that you've done, hit me up because I don't want to just talk on camera by myself. I'd rather interview you and learn from you because this is Drysen Learns Things, not Drysen Talks randomly for 10 minutes. So, again, thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and have yourself a fantastic rest of your day. Drysen Learns Things is brought to you by the Discovery Workshop from Made by Things. If you are looking for a content partner to help you brainstorm, set goals, and create content that truly resonates with your audience, check us out at madebythings.com/discovery.